That means you can see it. It actually shows up. So it's got layer 2 and layer 3 encryption options. You can do a layer 2 similar to an 802.11i, but it's a little bit stronger, hopefully. You can do a layer 3, and it's essentially a VPN similar to the way that the older things like Fortress worked. Okay? So I was ranting about how cranky I was one day because my wireless card was dropping what was perfectly usable frames for the pen test I was on. And Dragorn's like, dude, you just want invalid packets? Oh, here, do this. Oh, man, I've been fighting with that for like, well, let's just not talk about how long. So once again, Dragorn, who writes half of my code for me because he's my hero, saves my butt again, and now you can actually detect Harris SecNet 11. It's neat stuff, but unfortunately, it's about $3,000 a wireless card. I don't have any. If any of you want to send me a Pcap now, that would be really great, because I've been looking to analyze it. Oh, I was already planning to beg for Pcaps. Send me cool stuff, okay? It is no good to any person here if Kismet can't see what's going on. If you have a new form of encryption, if you have something weird you've seen in the field, if you swear you're not a noob and that replay attack really doesn't work, send it to the team. We'll take a look at it. I mean, it's really neat stuff. It's things that are actually out there in the world that nobody knows about. I don't know if the rest of you are bored with cracking your neighbor's web key, but my neighbors all switched to WPA. Once again, this is my job. I work for a wireless intrusion protection system. Okay? I will not make this a commercial. If this is a commercial, somebody come up here, collect the lemons, and throw them at me again. Okay? More. Same one. Keep the bite. Okay? Wireless intrusion detection systems were an early product. Basically, it was a noisemaker. It would say, well, you know, I've been staring at your back all day, and you just got stabbed. I just thought you'd like to know. That's exactly what I thought. What good is an intrusion detection system? Those of you that have deployed an intrusion prevention system on the wired side know what the good is what happens if there's a false positive, everybody freaks out. So a lot of people still just do intrusion detection. Okay? They just keep doing... Try to avoid hitting the computer, please. I'd like to finish the talk. Okay. Wireless intrusion prevention systems were a later product. What they do is not only log the events, but they automatically classify the devices, and then they try to prevent the wireless threats in real time. Okay? I talked about this a little bit at the DEF CON Wireless Village 2 years ago, but honestly, most people still don't even know that these systems exist. You're all out there trying to like break into some Fortune 500 company, and you're like, oh man, the admin will never know I'm cracking his web key. And then I don't hear from you for a few years. Okay? There's two types of systems that do things like this, okay? The two things are called hybrid and overlay. A hybrid system is where access points double as sensors, okay? Typically, because they're worried about the access points, they're watching the access points. So if a client device connects to another access point, that's not really a problem. Except if it's my honeypot or car metasploit or whatever. That's another talk. Every tick of time spent doing security, however, means that there's no data transport for that particular AP. Let me say that again. If you want security, you can't have data at the same time. That's a problem. But it's a good solution because there's no additional hardware you have to buy. That's the bonus. You lose a little security by being a data path. You lose a little data path by being security. But it's a lot cheaper, faster, easier to deploy. Some of these problems can be fixed by deploying it as an overlay solution. The good parts about overlay is that it's a dedicated system. There's dedicated physical pieces of hardware that handle the security. They spend 100% of their time on it. That means that you can send in the big report at the same time that you're blocking a rogue access point. It's nice, but it does require additional hardware because now you have sensors and access points. There's good sides to both. I'll leave it at that. Automatic classification, what enables an intrusion detection system to be an intrusion prevention system. If you don't know what's friendly, you don't know what to attack. If it says everything in the air is a rogue access point and it has to kill rogue access points, the guy next door is going to be really mad. Okay? So the way these systems typically tend to work, and forgive me, as you can tell, my slides are a little Spartan. At the top, we have an access point. I'm sorry. Wow. Hi, good morning. I think I got hit a little too hard. Relic? No? Okay. At the top, you have a server. The server is going to control the sensors. It's going to control the access points. It goes down to the switch, your core network. The green access point is obviously your authorized, your intended deployed access points. The little silver box actually says sensor on it. Probably not very well. It says sensor. That's a device monitoring the airspace. The red access point is the access point that one of your VPs, typically the one of marketing, went out on their lunch break, bought at Best Buy for 40 bucks, and plugged into your network. You know, the same kind of setup he has at home. Channel 6, Linksys, no encryption. I took it out of the box, I plugged it in, and now I can surf from the chair. The blue access point is a neighboring access point. It belongs to another company. It belongs to a hotspot provider. It belongs to somebody else. It's not connected to your network. Okay? How does all this work, though? Okay? An example of how this stuff can work is like this. Okay? The sensor scans the air and it says, oh, I see a client with this particular MAC address. I'm going to send that new information up to my server. Isn't that cool? It moved all by itself. I figured that out last night at like 2:30. No, seriously, I was like, it was awesome. Okay? The server is then going to pull the cam table of the switch at a regular interval. And it's going to say, give me all of your connected devices. And it pulls that list and it sends it back up to the server. Now the server takes the list of what the sensor sent it and what the switch knows, and it's going to compare those two. And it's going to try to determine what's going on. I see that this client is on my switch, and I see that this client is connected to this access point. Well, wait a minute. If the client's connected to the access point, and the client's MAC address is on my switch, what's the access point connected to? Probably my network, right? Does that seem like a fairly reasonable draw? The MAC address goes across the bridge access point, hits the switch. So if you see it on your switch, you see it on the air, you know that this access point is really a rogue access point connected to your network, okay? This is one of the basic tests that a WIP system could perform to determine what access points you should be attacking viciously and which neighbors to leave alone so you don't get sued, okay? These things are out there. So those of you that get lucky and put an access point in your baby's diaper and walk into the, walk into the hotel or the hospital or whatever you're pen testing this week, apparently it's my head. You plant a rogue access point, somebody's going to notice eventually. Okay? So the final thoughts on wireless intrusion prevention systems, realistically speaking, are, I want you all to know you're not invisible. Okay? People monitor for this stuff. Governments, large corporations, more people than you think are actually looking for this in some way, size, shape, or form. In the next few years, as there's been acquisitions in the space, there's been more players in the space, there's been bigger products in the space, you're going to run up against this stuff in penetration tests. You're going to see this. And honestly, it's kind of neat. But you're not invisible. You're also not invincible. If you're sitting out in the parking lot trying to crack somebody's web key, and all of a sudden you notice that your replay attack's not working so hot, somebody could have automatically severed your connection with the access point, stopped you from transmitting packets, issued an automatic location tracking, sent a picture to the guy in the security desk who's got a billy club with your name on it. Yes, I've seen this deployed in 3 cars in a parking lot to track somebody for that reason. Yeah, he had a billy club. It was a real problem. No, because he was hacking somebody he should not have been hacking from somebody